Welcome to Sunday Dusk. And here's your host, Corvus Twig.
Hey, got. I riding on my stool in place. Hold on a sec. Okay, I can maybe get it. Okay, my stool's not in place. Hold on a second. Okay, this is gonna be very exhausting if I have to keep doing this. All right. Okay. There we go. I found a microphone stand. Okay, we're good. Oh shit, the show started. Well, welcome everybody. It's Sunday again. You know what that means? It's time for Sunday Dusk. And it is July. It is Siete de Julio. The 7th day of the 7th month of the 7th year after 2017. Is that lucky? I don't know. I feel like I'm stretching a little bit there on that last one. But it's a very 7 full day, and it's 7 o'clock. The 7th hour of the second half of the day. It's just like it's a lot of sevens right now. Good sevens, lucky sevens. You want 3 sevens, get that 21. That's blackjack. Although you should probably, you never want to get 3 sevens as a blackjack, because if you got 2 sevens, you should probably split them rather than hitting on a 14. It's probably better odds. I actually, yeah. What are the blackjack odds if you have 2 sevens? When do you split them? When do you hit them? When do I don't know. I'm sure it changes depending on what the dealer's showing. But I guess we're not here to talk about blackjack strategy. I know you always split 8s. Always split 8s. I know that. So if you're ever playing blackjack and you get 2 8s, you split those guys right up. Because getting 2 18s is better than being stuck with 1 16. I don't know. Gambling's not always the best idea. You shouldn't gamble too much. But it's fun. Yeah, you just gamble responsibly. Think of it like, I have $100 and that's my entertainment budget for the night. And if you lose $100, then you're done. And, just do it smart. Just do it smart. Yeah, it's fine. But we've just gone past the 4th of July. Independence Day for us Americans. You always split 7s unless the dealer shows a 7 or higher. Okay, that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, we had 4th of July. Saw some fireworks on the 3rd. Tried to barbecue on the 4th, but couldn't because it was raining super heavy right up until 8 o'clock at night, which then made people start lighting off fireworks. Now he's trying to sleep. It's just, I don't like fireworks when other people are... Okay, here's the thing. Fireworks are fun. Fireworks are pretty. I like the flash and the bang. I appreciate fireworks. But don't light them off in residential areas. Come on, people. Wait, did I go on this rant last week? I might have gone on this rant last week. But I'm passionate about it because I like sleeping. I mean, do you like sleeping? I like sleeping. Sleeping is good. People always talk about you need good diet and exercise, but you need sleep too. And I say, well, I got one of the 3. I get good sleep. Don't diet or exercise enough, that's for sure. Maybe a bit too much. Yeah, we all like sleeping. Sleeping is calm, nice, comfy. Get in your bed, get all cozy up. It's nice. But then in the morning, give me my coffee. Gotta have my coffee. Because we want to sleep sometimes, but don't want to sleep other times. Well, we got a little bit of a different show today. We got another bird on, but not just another bird. We got another bird expert on. We're gonna teach you all a bit about birds tonight. We're gonna teach you a lot about birds tonight. I mean, you learn about birds every night, but today's gonna be especially bird heavy. It really is. But we got some fun stuff coming up this month. Okay, so here's the thing. This upcoming weekend, I'm going to be away for the weekend, doing stuff with my cousin, doing like games and stuff. And then as soon as I get back from that, I have the 1 year anniversary of Brouhaha, which is my improv show that I've produced. And so that's going to be a big thing. We're doing a big potluck. We're doing all sorts of big things. It's going to be a big party and as well as a big show. And so with those two things also going on, I decided not to have Sunday Dusk next week. It's too much on my plate this weekend, too much going on. But depending on how I feel when I get home, maybe I'll stream something else. Maybe I'll do something else. Maybe not Sunday Dusk, but maybe I'll come up with something else fun we could do. So we'll see. We'll see. No promises. But we'll see what happens. But tomorrow we got an episode of Twig's Missing Movies with Kyoko. We got Kyoko. Oh my gosh, so excited to have Kyoko on again. So great to see Kyoko again. We love Kyoko. Kyoko is wonderful. Yeah, Drake will be there too. My excellent co-host. Drink some water. I gotta get water. I don't have a water. Oh my gosh, how can I do a show without water? Give me a second, I'll grab some water. Okay, just going over here. Just getting water. Alright, I grabbed Strawberry Sunset with strawberry, kiwi, pineapple flavors with other natural flavors. Some people would say it has no flavor because it's sparkling water, but hey, here's the thing. Think sparkling water doesn't have any flavor? Stop drinking pop/soda for a month and just drink water, regular water, and then drink sparkling water, and suddenly it'll have so much more flavor. That's what happened with me. I kind of gave up drinking pop, and now like sparkling water's got good flavor. Refreshing. Drinking plain sparkling water. Yeah, you're in Germany. You also drink your beer warm. We don't want to get our drinking. You make good beer though. You do make good beer. No, you don't drink your beer warm. That's good. Maybe it's more of a British thing. I don't know. I remember that when I went to Poland, getting ice in my drinks was hard. Every drink I was served was just like, here's drink, no ice. I'm like, okay, I guess that's fine. Poland was nice. I liked Poland. Very nice people. Wonderful, beautiful architecture in Krakow. And Warsaw, basically a modern city. It was interesting. Krakow and Warsaw are the two largest cities in Poland. It's interesting how different they are because Krakow is like a very, very old city with very, very old buildings, a lot of very classic, European architecture. And then Warsaw is basically a brand new city that looked like it could basically just be any American city. And the main reason for that is Krakow survived World War II. Warsaw got pretty much leveled during World War II. All the classic old buildings that were in Warsaw are gone, and now it's basically a modern city where Krakow is more of a historic city. But both wonderful cities full of wonderful people, and Poland is nice. The Polish people were nice. We saw some really interesting stuff there. Also did a little bit of World War II history there, which is a little rough, but important to see and learn. Yeah. Some European countries remove the foam and fill the mug all the way. Well, you shouldn't be giving somebody a drink that's all foam. That's just bad. That's just bad. You don't want all foam. What I miss about Poland was a great Polish vodka called Żabrówka. Żabrówka. Good stuff. Like no foam at all. Yeah. To have very little foam is good. To have no foam at all, that's a level of dedication there. That's a good level of dedication. Man, it's been a long weekend. I did something yesterday that I haven't done in a very long time, and I went out geocaching. It was great. Hey, speaking of my co-host, there's Dreyfrig. Welcome, Dreyfrig. We were just talking about how you're going to be we're going to be doing a episode of Twigs Missing Movies tomorrow, so definitely come check that out. Hello, DieFed. Great to see you. Happy that DieFed's here. Welcome to everybody. If you have any bird questions, stay in chat because we're going to be answering questions. We have some pre-submitted questions, but if you have any other questions, hold on to them and submit them in chat, and we will do our best to get to them. Don't know how long it's going to take for all of our answers, but yeah, we're doing a bird Q&A tonight. That's going to be the great thing. We're going to do a wonderful bird Q&A, and you're going to love it, and it's going to be great, and we're going to have a good time. And yeah, Mr. No Toilet Paper. What is this with no toilet paper? I don't understand this no toilet paper thing. I mean, birds don't really use toilet paper. We just kind of let it go wherever. Dre knows a lot. Anyway, I suppose I should get to the news. We got some news. Let me get down here a little bit, shrink myself a little bit so you can see the news. All right, let's up the PowerPoint. All right. Well, we just had Independence Day weekend here in the United States, and my first story is one of the most American stories I've ever seen. And not in a good way. So, I know that for the longest time that it's been kind of a joke to make fun of Japan for having crazy vending machines, including selling things that are maybe a little risque and gross and like, ew, do that. But the truth of the matter is that those are like one-off instances and not something super common. And now that we have certain things, I can say is that there's a new thing that you can do with a vending machine in the United States that is uniquely American. Yeah, 20 plus years. That's something that I feel is always blown out of proportion. But here's something not blown out of proportion, happening now in multiple states, and that is bullet vending machines. Yep. Now in Oklahoma and Alabama, they have AI-powered vending machines. Now, frankly, I'm a little wonder, like, because you look at this picture here. Where's the AI coming in here? Well, I mean, it says, our smart retail automated ammo dispensers have built-in AI technology, card scanning capability, and facial recognition software, says the company. Each piece of software works together to verify the person using the machine matches the identification scan. So I guess these things, you have to scan your ID, it scans your picture, then it also scans your face to make sure that the ID matches the person scanning it, so that you can buy bullets. Now, look, if I know anything about AI, if I know anything about algorithms, and I know anything about facial recognition technology, this is going to be like, oh, well, Bob Johnson goes here, scans his ID, approved. And then, you know, George Jackson, a black man, decides to do the same thing, and it says, don't recognize your face. We're going to deny it. I don't think it's the same ID. Look, AI and facial recognition technology are trained mostly on white people, and they're terrible at identifying black people, Asian people. They're okay with, they're actually better with Latinos, but it's like, look, racial bias is built into facial recognition technology, and it's real bad. It's real fucking bad. And there's no way that this technology is going to work exactly as they have. But also, I don't like the idea of people just being able to go up and buy bullets from a gun, from a machine. It's like, you know, I mean, what if some kid takes his dad's ID? Maybe he looks a little like his dad, but he's only 16 years old, and he does the whole scan thing. It might work. You know, it's just, you know, it's, yeah, but, you know, that's the United States for you. We have more guns than people. We have to make sure people can get their bullets. You know, I mean, so it's a little more difficult than just, you know, put in some cash, get some bullets, but, yeah, I don't know. In fairness, without a gun, the bullet won't do much. Yeah, but it's not exactly hard to get a gun. But also, I mean, I don't know a lot about guns, but it feels like a pouch like this. Is that a safe way to store bullets? Is that, I mean, I don't know. Probably. But But it's kind of funny. There was a place that in Alabama that they had one of these, and the legality was questioned at a city council meeting. They determined it was legal, but the store said they removed the machine because of a lack of sales. Apparently, people weren't using it that much. Maybe people who wanted to buy bullets. I don't know. Either way, I don't think this is a good idea. And, but hey, 4th of July weekend, we gotta do a truly American story. So, thanks to Lucas Ropek of Gizmodo for the article, Oklahoma, Alabama now have AI-powered vending machines that sell bullets. But hey, we're talking about America. This next story is also American and maybe related to who is arguably the best U.S. president. He did a lot of good things, although he did a lot of bad things too. There are no good U.S. presidents through and through, but widely considered to be the best one. We're talking about Abe Lincoln, of course. And an artist recently decided to put a public statue of good old Abe Lincoln out there to honor him. It was kind of a smaller, life-size version of the Lincoln Memorial. The classic Lincoln sitting on the big chair, except this one he's actual life-size. And the choice of material was a little interesting. They didn't do it out of stone or ceramics or metal or wood or anything like that. No, their choice of material was ill-advised because, well, the place where it was is Washington, D.C., and it topped over 100 degrees, and the material that they chose was wax. So as you can see, old Honest Abe here is not having the best of times. Artist Wit, it's supposed to do that. I don't know about that, Hasio. Yeah, he's taking a nap. He's sleepy. In the image on the right, that's how he looked a couple days ago. The image on the left is more recent. Turns out his head has completely fallen off at this point. Apparently he is a candle and has a wick running through him, and but it turns out that they were planning on lighting the wick and having it be like a burning exhibit or something like that, but it was just so hot that the wax melted without any of it actually being lit. It's kind of funny. And now we have good old Melty Abe. Now apparently this is the second statue that the artist has made of Lincoln, and the other one had over 100 wicks in it, and they lit them all and let it melt for days, and it was kind of cool, neat art project. But this one was not really supposed to be meant to do that. And now we just have a melty president, and well, there it is. Lost his head, melted. Poor Abe. I'm sure another statue's coming down the pipeline at some point, but I don't know if this is disrespectful towards Lincoln or just kind of funny. I'm leaning towards just kind of funny. Abe Lincoln himself probably would have found this funny. I'm sure he had a good sense of humor. Yeah. Thanks to Elise Wanshell from the Huffington Post for the article, Abe Lincoln's wax statue's head melts off, and of course there are jokes. I'm sorry to include any of the jokes. I didn't even really see any jokes in the article here, but whatever. Hey, this is the second time I'm mentioning Japan in it, because the next story comes from Japan. Now, you'd think it might come from Ireland, because, what's something that Ireland is associated with? No, not whiskey. No, not car bombing. That's offensive. Why would you say that? Yes! No, not potatoes! Not the potato famine, which wasn't actually a famine. It was actually the British military stealing all of the Irish people's food and threatening violence if they didn't. The potato famine wasn't actually a famine. It was a genocide by the British. No, we're talking about clovers! Particularly those ones that have 4 leaves. That is the lucky status of Ireland. The symbol of one of the symbols of Ireland is a 4-leaf clover with luck, but Japan has outdone them. They've gone beyond a 4-leaf clover. A 5-leaf clover? No. They didn't go 5. 6-leaf clover? No, they didn't go 6. Did they double it and make it do an 8-leaf clover? No. 21 leaf? No, Hasio, that'd be ridiculous. That's too many. Wait 1 second. It's not too many? Oh, okay. Turns out they had a 63-leaf clover. That's right. A 63-leaf clover. Apparently, Yoshiharu Watanabe, a 45-year-old Japanese man, has started cross-pollinating clovers at his home. He started doing it in 2012 to try and get the highest leaf count clovers he possibly could. And this year, he was able to grow a 63-leaf clover, which has been verified by the Guinness Book of World Records to be the clover with the most number of leaves, beating the previous record of 56 leaves. He said he was so happy to find it happen. And so, yeah, here's each of those little tags, a little verification tag done by the Guinness people. And, yeah, they say that a quote from him, "People say that a 4-leaf clover brings you happiness, so it would be great if this 63-leafed clover would bring surprise and pleasure to many people," he said. That's a nice sentiment. But yeah, they said that doing his cross-pollination, sometimes the leaves, you do one that's got a lot of leaves, cross-pollinate with another one that's got a lot of leaves, try and get more. Sometimes you get fewer. Sometimes it results in just a typical 3-leafed clover. But persistence, perseverance, and probably tons and tons and tons of plants has resulted in a 63-leaf clover. So here's hoping that there's some good luck there. Yeah, 63. Well, here's hoping that next year he can get 6 more. That'd be nice. So, thanks to Ben Hooper of UPI for the article, "Japanese Man Grows Extra Lucky 63-Leaf Clover." Now, this next final one, I mean, most of you have probably heard about this already, but I have to talk about it because I think it's pretty great. This one comes from the city of Los Angeles. And, in particular, the sport of Major League Baseball. You see, Major League Baseball has been struggling in a few years. Attendance is down, viewership on TV is down, and they're trying to find interesting new ways to get fans into the stadium. Well, over the weekend, they decided to do just that by having a big promotion. And so they found another company that they decided to do a collaboration with and bring on representatives of that company to celebrate the baseball game. And let's see here. Those 3 associates were Hashimachi Suisei, Usada Pekara, and Gaugura. Yeah, that's right, folks. They had a HoloLive night on Friday the 5th at Dodger Stadium. So, if you went there, you got the handouts, because sometimes they do handouts before games. You got baseball cards of those 3. As you can see, and those are the images they used on the baseball cards showing their stats and stuff like that. And they also had special HoloLive baseball merchandise for sale. And they had Gaugura sing the 7th inning stretch. He sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And yeah, if you lined up at the right booth. Yeah, see, here's the problem. They had one booth in the entire stadium that had the HoloLive merchandise, and apparently the line for it, wrapped halfway around the entire stadium. And this is a big professional league ballpark that seats tens of thousands of people. It's a long line. It says, here's the thing. They thought they should do this, and they're like, oh, this will just be a fun little thing. We'll just advertise it a little bit. Might bring in a bit of extra fans. No, the game was a sold-out game. It was a sold-out game. They packed it. HoloLive people friggin' packed Dodgers Stadium. It was amazing. There were screenshots there. There were people at I saw a screenshot, somebody at the baseball game was dressed up as Subaru. I mean, there was apparently a lot of cosplayers there. It was pretty amazing. But yeah, they also, during a couple of the innings, they had the girls record like announcing somebody coming up to bat, so they'd say their name and their position and stuff like that. And so they had Suisei and Pekara and Gura doing all those things. And yeah, it was they did a whole bunch of stuff before the game, and just like the three of them were up on the jumbotron saying stuff. And that's pretty great. Honestly, I would have liked if they had like Galgura. Like, I think Galgura in the stands, I think she could do color commentary for an inning. That would be fun. I think she could do it. But the thing is, this night was a huge success. Like, more successful than the Dodgers could have even imagined, which means that this probably ain't going to be a one-off. I hope we have Hololive night here at Target Field in Minneapolis. That would be pretty great. But yeah, I do wonder, all the people there who are like Dodgers season ticket holders who are there for the baseball, see like, what the hell are these anime girls doing on it? It's definitely a little bit weird, a little bit different, but I love it. I love that they did this, and the Dodgers won. So good job, Dodgers. But I mean, the Dodgers are a big market team. They're not quite Yankees level, but they're always good and up there because they got lots of money to do it. But you know, one thing I gotta say is that they should rig those three models in those outfits. Like I say, they look good. They look good in those outfits. I like those girls in those outfits. Yeah, they look good when you see them play baseball. This wouldn't have happened if Ohtani didn't sign with the Dodgers. I mean, it's possible. Yes, Yagu was there, and 8-5. 8-5, Yago. Yeah. Baseball outfits are cute. Also, nice to see you, Sheriff. Thanks for coming. Yeah. So, just thought that was fun, and I hope they do more stuff like that. So I think we're gonna call it with the news for today, and we're gonna get to the interview. Hey, Aj. You've been sitting on the armrest the whole time.
I was trying to blend in.
You're blending in. Your camouflage is actually quite good. I don't know if anybody noticed you there.
I was just trying to vibe. You know, I'm a small bird.
Thanks for the follow, Cabbage Lord. But yes, my guest today is a fellow bird. She is also hello. But not just a bird, another bird expert, a bit of an ornithologist herself.
You make me blush every time you say bird expert.
You are. I mean, look, you know more about birds than 99% of the population. That's debatable. Do you realize how little 99% of the population knows about birds?
That's fair. I wish, you know what? I wish it was bigger. I wish more people knew about birds.
Yeah. Anyway, now my guest might have a little bit of trouble seeing you, so why don't you go and hop up on that mic stand that I had there earlier so people can see you, okay?
Oh, yeah. This one over here?
Yeah, this one's over there.
Oh, yeah. Give me one second. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
It's movie magic. It's like Lord of the Rings. It's
magic,
the depth perception. Yes. You can't tell.
Yeah. People may be like, "But Twig, why are you so big behind the desk?" Well, it's mirrors. It's like a trick of mirrors and stuff. It's forced perspective. It's like it's just like like Lord of the Rings.
You had Peter Jackson rig up your studio.
Yeah, Peter Jackson was very helpful with that.
What a workshop, did the whole deal.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest problems with Lord of the Rings. Not many birds. I mean, yeah, you got the eagles, but
needs more birds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
Agreed.
The eagles do technically save Frodo and Sam at the end, but
I mean, yeah, they should have gotten more screen time, let's be honest.
They should have. And maybe some other kinds of birds. I mean, maybe Aragorn should have had a pet hawk. Helps him hunt and spy things for him. Or,
What about us little birds?
Oh, I mean, Gimli should have had like a little songbird that lived in his beard.
But like a burrowing owl? Perfect.
Oh, burrowing owl would be great. Yes. Like every one of the main members of the Fellowship should have had their own type of bird. I think that would have made it a lot better.
I feel like Legolas absolutely should have had like some sort of peacock so that whenever he was standing in the distance, it just like would flare up behind him.
Yes,
More
yes.
dramatic.
Peacock is perfect for Legolas. I think Pippin should have had a seagull because, well, it fits.
Well, I mean, his name is Peregrine, so
Yeah.
what's more Peregrine than a very loud seagull?
But you have to admit that Pippin's personality fits with a lot more in with a seagull than a peregrine falcon. Like,
No,
honestly,
I can't disagree with
if
that.
if I was to like do like personality of the characters, what kind of bird would they be? I would actually say Legolas would be like the peregrine falcon.
That's his eyes. You know what your Peregrine eyes see? Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like Aragorn would maybe be some type of hawk. Boromir would probably be like a big eagle owl or something like that. One of the big owls. I could see that for Boromir. But Gimli, what's a big, tough, stout bird that would fit for a dwarf?
Honestly, I can't say.
Obviously, a patoo. Gimli's a patoo.
Whoa. All right, so someone with more artistic skill than me needs to make Lord of the Burbs. Something along
Lord
those
of the
lines.
Burbs.
Burbs of the Ring.
Yeah,
something.
Birds of the Ring. Okay, who's like the most loyal and dedicated of birds?
Oh God.
I mean, that's a good question because I'm trying to think. That's for Samwise, you know.
Well, you'd need a bird with great memory.
Mm-hmm.
Because, loyalty. You'd need a bird that's very intelligent. You'd also need a bird that's very handsome. So I feel
crow.
like there's an obvious choice.
Crow.
Yeah.
Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see Samwise being a crow, and Frodo maybe being like a magpie.
Well, yeah, definitely. If he's related, I mean, Bilbo was the one who found the ring, like magpies, hoarding. It just works.
Yeah, it absolutely does work. And then I suppose that leaves us then with Mary, who would be, I'm definitely some type of songbird, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, one with a beautiful song. Maybe not quite a lyrebird, but
part of me wants to say mockingbird because there's something about like
good.
having a really great song, but at the same time just absolutely being able to make fun of people through mocking them.
Yes,
seems very Mary to me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, and Arwen is a secretary bird.
Oh yeah, fucking. I'm assuming
beautiful, stunning, great legs, but also vicious and capable
will
of
kick
killing
the
you.
shit out
Yeah.
of you. Yes, very much so.
Yes. Oh God, we could just go on all day just doing like pop culture characters as birds.
But I feel like we should probably answer some questions.
All right. Well, I think we'll start with a few questions. Then we'll do bird of the day, and then we'll do some more questions.
Perfect.
Yeah. So many people have submitted questions, and we'll do questions in chat a little bit later, but we're going to get some of the ones that people submitted first. So let's go to. Well, we were just actually talking about magpies, so here we're gonna have this first one here. This one is from Hasio. Who would win in a fight between an Australian magpie and a Eurasian magpie? Now, honestly, I feel like this is a pretty easy question.
I very much agree. I feel like we're gonna have the same answer, but I have to consider the circumstances under which these two birds would be arguing.
Okay, let's say there's been a bit of a drought and food is scarce. And these two happen to have been brought into the same territory, and there's a morsel of food and only one of them's gonna get it, and they're fighting over that piece of food.
Yeah, no, it's I'm gonna have to say Australian magpie.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's not even close. Yeah. For one, the Australian magpie is almost 3 times the size of a Eurasian magpie. So
yeah, exactly.
Size advantage is there. Eurasian magpies are probably a little bit smarter than the Australian ones, but for not being a corvid, Aussie magpies are actually pretty smart. But I mean, they're also Australian, and I feel like if you just said, would an Australian blank beat a Eurasian blank?
It's probably
It's probably an Australian one. It's just,
No,
I don't think there's an
completely
Australian
agree.
eagle owl, but I'd love to see what that looked like.
Oh God. I mean, honestly, I feel like I feel like the comparison between these two just highlights like whenever you have Australian species, it's always bigger, and it's always, I want to say, more aggressive, but that is super circumstantial. And as a biologist, I tend to avoid saying that anything is more violent or more aggressive, or oftentimes it's very circumstantial. But
Well,
in this case, in my experience, I've only ever seen Eurasian magpies in person. I'd love to see Australian magpies in person.
they're one of my favorite birds. Like, they're top 5 birds for me who are not corvids.
Valid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did a little research too. I tried. There's a lot of jokes out west where there are Eurasian magpies, and they're known as trash birds because they are more likely to rummage through your trash to look for food than go after someone else's young, to go after someone else's food source.
Well, I mean, the ibis that live in Florida are much less bin chickens than
Bin
the
chickens.
ibis of the ibis of Australia seem to be especially trashy. But yeah,
Well,
at least, hey, you know what? At least the Australian ibis is actually an ibis, unlike the Australian magpie, which is not a magpie,
not a magpie.
not even a corvid. But
I feel like people see the iridescent black feathers and go, "That's a magpie."
I mean, it's black and white, and it kind of looks like it has many corvid features to it. So, understandably, people who didn't have an understanding of biology and ornithology see it and are like, "Well, that looks a little bit like our magpies back home. We're going to call this a magpie." But that's also how there's also the Australian chough is not a chough and is different than.
Yep. That's
So there's actually
same thing
two
with
Australian
American robins
corvids.
versus European robin.
Oh, there's like, I think there's like 4 different families that have a species in it called a robin, just because they have a red breast.
Red breast, yep.
Yeah.
But I have to say, have you ever heard an Australian magpie sing?
Oh, I love their song.
Beautiful.
Their little warbly song. It's amazing. Their sound. I mean, these little guys. I covered them kind of on an early bird of the day, and it might be one I would like to revisit sometime, just because I feel like I could do them more justice, because they're just so wonderful. They're just so wonderful.
Yeah, they get a bad rap because they tend to be a lot of. Every time there's any sort of human-animal interaction, they tend to get a bad rap for being aggressive, and we all.
I mean,
I wouldn't say we all, but a lot of us know about swooping season.
Australian magpies kill more people per year than cassowaries do per century.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Well, you know how many people have been killed by a cassowary in the last 100 years? One.
I'm gonna guess one. Yeah.
One. And the previous recorded one was in 1915, so not quite 100 years, a little over 100 years ago. So
Who would ever pick a fight with a cassowary?
well, apparently the one that happened, it happened about 6 years ago. It was a domesticated one. Well, and the thing is, you can't really domesticate them. And the guy got into the cage with it. He was like 65 years old, and it didn't like being in captivity. But yeah, most of the time, you see videos of cassowaries, they're actually not really aggressive. They are capable of killing you, but they're not really territorial or aggressive birds around humans. They're just not. They just look terrifying, and
they look like horrifying dinosaurs.
Yeah. Ostriches are the deadliest bird on the planet by far.
Really?
Like, it's not even close. It's ostriches. Because they're large, capable, and heavily domesticated.
Yeah,
there's a ton of ostriches in captivity, and almost every ostrich-related death is from an ostrich in captivity.
where my parents live, there is an ostrich farm, which is the
Yeah.
weirdest thing you would see on the East Coast. Not gonna lie, just driving along, then a whole field of ostriches.
Yeah, it just so annoys me because I look up articles like what are the deadliest birds, and they all list cassowary as number one, and it's just like no, they're not. They're not even close.
Well, you're saying based on statistics, and I feel like some people, it's a difference. It's difference of the type of question you're asking,
Yeah.
and this is something that is probably beaten into me in studying biology. Is what do you mean by deadliest? Do you mean by actual statistics, like what does the history show, or do we mean by like capability? Like which bird is the most capable of causing a lot of damage to a person? So
Yeah, I suppose that's
depends
kind
on
of the
what
same
you're
thing with
asking.
sharks. Not that many
Oh,
people
yeah.
are killed every year by sharks, but boy, are sharks sure capable.
Yeah, exactly. You're more likely to, what is it? The old wives' tale. You're more likely to die being crushed by a fridge or something like that, based on just statistics.
Yep. All right.
But, you know, I'm not afraid to wear a wetsuit around my fridge.
All right. Next question. Do you want to see a living dodo? I mean,
I mean,
yes.
who wouldn't?
That'd be amazing
Like-
to see.
Like, I feel like every birder anyone interested in birds, if you ask them that question, like, hey, you want to see a dodo? Like, all of us would fall for that and come to your white van to see a living dodo.
It's just such a tragic tale, because, you know, we introduced land-based carnivores to an environment that didn't have land-based carnivores, and those land-based carnivores, primarily dogs, killed them all. And the same thing almost happened with the kakapo. Luckily, they were able to save the kakapo, but it's still dire.
It's still, I mean, and it's not just the kakapo, it's a huge problem everywhere. Like, there's a reason, what is it? Britain has such a massive, massive decline in their songbirds. It's because there's a huge problem with outdoor cats. Like, the same thing in the Galapagos Islands. And a set of islands famously known for birds and their bird biodiversity. There's a huge problem with people importing their pets. Even though it's illegal on the island, people still do it.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because you
honestly
can't tell
a lack
me what
of knowledge.
to do.
It's a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of understanding.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like the biggest problem in this world is ignorance. And probably communicating of that, but that's just me.
Yeah. Please keep your cats inside, please, people.
My second thought with this question was, is this person suggesting, like, do we want to see this? There's this
Hey,
very
buddy,
much...
you want to see a dodo?
There's very much in science and conservation now is, like, the thought of bringing extinct animals back, right? Through genetic engineering or, you know, crossbreeding certain species that we do have alive. And, like, I don't mean to sound like a wet blanket. I tend to, like, I'm so disinterested, and so I feel like to think about those types of questions is actually kind of small-minded. If you think about how much money it would cost, right, to scientifically study and genetically design these creatures, and then, like, you know, bring them back biologically by having them reared in a surrogate mother. Think of all that money that could have been used towards conservation of the species that we currently have.
I mean, that's an extremely valid point. Yeah.
Like, instead of, like, I get it, bring back cool, interesting creatures that we haven't seen in centuries would be awesome, but, like, there's animals, birds that need that kind of attention right now.
Yeah.
Like the kakapo, which makes me really happy when people do get behind that.
I mean, ideally, we would fund both of them and take budget away from, you know, law enforcement and military.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could save a few bird species for the cost of a single F-16 fighter.
Probably.
Yeah.
We could at least do some decent education and outreach using that kind of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we could.
But at the same time, like, who doesn't want to see a chunky old relative of pigeons just hopping along?
Love to see it. And they didn't even go extinct that long ago.
Within human history.
Yeah. I mean, within U.S. history.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
I say that. I'm going to be turning 40 this next year. You look at how much time the United States has been around. I have been alive for about 16% of the entire U.S. history.
So is it 1776? What year? What?
So, you know, we get out the little calculator app.
If we consider 1776.
Yes. So
right.
24 minus 1776 equals 248. So 40 divided by 249, because we'll do next year.
Suddenly maths.
Yeah, 16.06%. I've been alive for 16%, which means that, like, my grandpa, who just turned 91, has been alive for over a third of all of U.S. history.
Oh, God, when you put it into perspective like that, I also have a grandparent who...
Yeah.
Around that, I think she's 93 currently. That's insane. I hadn't really thought of it in that perspective, but God, you're right.
Yeah, your grandma, if they're 93, that's 37.3% of U.S. history. They've been alive.
Oh, my gosh.
That just shows you how young of a country we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, the United States, as a country, is older than Italy and Germany. As countries. As united countries. Now, obviously, Italian and German history go much, much further back than that. You know, having, like, you know, Bavaria and Prussia being separate states, and you know, all the. I mean, how many different nation states were in what we consider Italy now? You know, 300 years ago. It's just like, a lot of stuff that we think is pretty established and long running is not as established and long running as we think it is.
Oh, and it's so crazy. I was just thinking this to myself today as I was preparing. It's crazy because I appreciate you flexing on me with history, because history is probably my worst subject.
I love history. Because I don't want to repeat it.
Yeah, it's so important as a biologist too. And it's so important, again, for the sciences too. And I feel like a lot of current science problems, current conservation problems, put into context of history, make a whole lot more sense.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. That one's that took on some interesting tangents, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Okay, I gotta stop having Casio questions. Would a chocobo be viable? Okay, well, let's take a look at a chocobo's physiology. Obviously, they are bigger than an ostrich. But physiologically, they seem to have feet that seem kind of similar to an ostrich feet, but also almost kind of like a passerine feet. They have the 3 in front, 1 back standard type of feet. Very short tails on them. But they're very, very sturdy animals, capable of holding not just an adult human, but an armored adult human. But could biologically a chocobo be possible? That's the question. What do you think?
So, yeah, like you said, depends on what you mean by viable. If you want something that can probably carry a full-size adult in armor, debatable. But, I mean, if we go back to our history, not to tie into the last question, but there's definitely a historical record of these gigantic birds. I mean, famously, the terror birds.
Yeah. The elephant bird is...
Yeah. These massive birds that range from, like, 3 feet to, like, 10 feet tall and were, like, weighed almost 800 pounds. It's pretty crazy to think about.
Definitely feels like they were very big transitional between some dinosaurs and modern birds.
I mean, debatably might have been muscular enough to carry a human.
Well, I mean, I have seen people ride ostriches. And, I mean, a chocobo's twice the size of an ostrich, so I could see it being viable. Now, here's the interesting thing is... Look at the ostrich and the emu and the cassowary, and they have kind of similar beak styles in the way that they use their beaks. Then you look at a chocobo beak, and a chocobo beak's shape in relation to its face is almost more finch-like or parrot-like.
That's true. Oh well, again, it depends on which version of Final Fantasy we're talking. Because I
That's
definitely see, like, if we're talking like 14 or some of the newer games, very terror bird, or like even there's another extinct subset of birds that are from the fossil record of what is now known as Australia, of course. Known as thunderbirds. They're Dromornithidae. That were like 9 to 10 feet tall as well. So like it's happened multiple times in Earth's evolutionary history. So like it's definitely possible.
Yes, absolutely. But of course, then there is the other example. Hold a second.
Certainly could not fly you from
Then of course is this guy. Is this guy viable? Is this guy viable?
I don't think so, but God, I want it to be. Oh, big fat chocobos.
Yeah, we love the fat chocobo. Okay,
Arguably
interesting.
one of the better ones.
Look at his feet.
That's true. Little tiny passerine feet.
But not passerine because he's got 2 in front and 1 in back.
Oh, he does have 2. I'm sorry. I thought that was 3.
Yeah.
But, oh wait, so fat chocobos have 2, whereas rideable chocobos have 3?
Boy, God, now I need to take a look.
Now I need to know.
I'm looking at the Final Fantasy 14 chocobos have 2 in front.
Oh, they have 2. Okay. This is like the Mandela effect, right?
I know, right?
You said 3 earlier, and now I'm like, oh yeah, of course they had 3.
Yeah, I'm even looking at the Final Fantasy 7 chocobo, also 2 in front. And yeah, now that I think about it, the chocobo tracks were like little Ys. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's a good point.
Huh.
Yeah, so not unlike modern large flightless birds. Again, not going to fly you from one location to another, but possible.
Interesting. But
whether or not you can domesticate them.
I would say yes. They'd be viable as species, assuming that they evolved in the proper way. But, you know, it's interesting. Interesting. All right, this one's from Cannon Fodder, and this actually kind of ties back to our dodo discussion. Like, how did the passenger pigeon go from millions, and actually it's billions, to none? How did that happen?
Ugh,
well,
it's so sad.
Unfortunately, they were delicious.
So, oh God, the story of the passenger pigeon is so sad, and I feel like a lot of biologists, ornithologists, bird hobbyists, you read about the passenger pigeon, and it always is just sad. And there were so many factors. So, talking about how did this happen, like you said, hunting, because they were tasty. They were also thought of as pests that, you know, these flocks of thousands of birds would land on a field and strip it clean. One of the big factors in a lot of early bird extermination was collection of feathers for fashion, ladies' hats.
Also fly fishing.
Oh, yes, feathers for fly fishing equipment.
Yep.
The loss of habitat and food sources as the industrial age came about, and as cities started to grow, people took over wild land, cut trees, and turned it into farmland. And then, of course, like the one we mentioned earlier, introduction of novel predators.
Yep.
These birds don't recognize, you know, cats or dogs as predators, so they wind up a tasty snack to our pets as well.
Yeah, and I gotta say, there's just like, if not for the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918, how many more birds would not exist these days?
I'm proud of you. That was a billionaire question.
What the act was that has basically saved birds in this country?
Yeah. Not just in this country. A lot of countries have agreed to that treaty and have taken on those, you know, those restrictions to protect species.
Yeah.
And that's what was mind-blowing for me in thinking about conservation is birds don't have an idea of boundaries. They don't know to stay within a certain country because they've got protections there versus another country.
Yeah.
So it's a global problem.
Yeah. They don't understand borders. And frankly, sometimes I don't either.
Same.
Wait, you're telling me so this piece of dirt here, if I'm on this side of it, I'm fine, but if I'm this side of it, I broke a law? That didn't make no sense to me.
So have you are you a Mel Brooks fan?
Yeah.
So it makes me think of Men in Tights. I'm on the East Bank, I'm on the West Bank. I'm on the East Bank, I'm on the West Bank.
Yes.
Like, just jumping across that divide.
Yes. Pretty much.
So, if I had to answer this question in one word, I would just say ignorance.
Yep.
And this is a period of history where people didn't think things could go extinct. They would just be like, there'll be more of them somewhere else.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize is just how much of a land of abundance the United States was when colonizers first arrived, and how much we've reduced wildlife populations in this country. It's staggering. They used to say that you could go off the coast of Massachusetts and just throw a net in the water and scoop up fish immediately because they were teeming with that much life. And now...
Was it Cape Cod that they used to describe it? Like, you could almost walk on the backs of fishes from your boat to shore.
Yes, it was. And now it's just like we've overfished and overhunted, and yeah, people are like, humans can't do that much. It's like, yeah, we can actually. We can. And
well, we also don't appreciate the fact that wasn't, you read a lot of early conservationists talking about like the untouched virgin wilderness, and that was never a thing. Because before colonialism, before colonizers came here, Native American and Indigenous First Nation people were already conserving the land through active conservation.
Yep.
It's like an example is the passenger pigeon. So a lot of First Nation peoples relied on the passenger pigeon as a source of protein and food. So what did they do? They made the area better for passenger pigeons. They saw that they ate more acorns and nuts. So they removed a lot of trees that didn't produce that to make room for trees that do. They made it more habitable for the species that they relied upon.
Yeah. The Native Americans were not just, this is not the word I'm using, it's the word that they use. They were, uncivilized savages, and they absolutely in no way were, No,
and that's something that ecologists are only just realizing this, which is like incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, such is the progress.
Turns out those
knowledge.
California natives knew how to prevent forest fires.
Yeah.
And maybe we should have listened to them.
Yeah, they're talking about not letting things prevent birds.
Susie's here! Susie's here!
It's the Susie raid.
Susie's here. We got a Susie raid, and for some reason, the raid notification didn't pop up. I'm gonna have to fix that. But welcome, Susie. Welcome Susie and all of the wonderful raiders. Thank you so much. We have a bird coming in with more birds. Hello, Eldritch God. Hello, Razor. Hello, Susie. Hello, Whip Smart McCoy. Hello, Jay Featherstick. Thank you so much, everybody. Liratev. Yes, we got the Eldritch. We told them birds. Yes, we got birds. So we've got a very, very birdy episode today. And today we are doing a bird Q&A. Oh, thanks for the follow, Tetsuya. Thank you so much. We're doing a bird Q&A today. So we're answering your questions about birds. So we're going to do Bird of the Day here pretty soon, so definitely watch Bird of the Day. But then after that, we're going to be answering some questions that people have about birds. I got a few more saved bird questions, but go ahead and if you have questions about birds, let us know a little bit later, and we will definitely try and answer as many of them as we can. But you know what? I think with the Susie raid, that might make it a great time to go over to Bird of the Day. What do you think, Aj?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me. We're going to go over to Bird of the Day. So, hey, everybody, Susie Silky fans. We love Susie so much. Great little bird artist. we're going to do a little bit of bird of the day. So stick around for this because this is going to be awesome. Because this is like the trademark signature feature of Corvus Twig streams. It's time for bird of the day. All right, hold on. I need to actually get the presentation up before I go over there. That might be useful. Okay. Now we're going. Oh, thanks for the follow, Lyra Tav. Appreciate it so much. All right, now we're going to the bird of the day. All right, welcome everybody. Oh, I forgot about your gift. Look at this gift Aj gave me. It's one of those little like things that drips the oil.
It's one of my favorite. I have one on my desk
nice.
right now, actually.
I'm just gonna hold on to this.
You just gotta flip it every once in a while, and you just zone out.
All right, so today's bird of the day, Aj gave me a couple bird species, but this is one I kind of was talking about and got a great photo of, and it's a great little bird. I wanted to do, Aagelaius and I are both passerines. Passerines are, of course, your small little songbirds, ranging everywhere from a tiny little wren to a raven. And this one is definitely more on the smaller side. I mean, real small, like finch small. Maybe not a little bigger than a wren, but these guys are small. They're cute, and they're warblers. Today's bird of the day is the yellow-rumped warbler. And this is not the right size. There we go. Yellow-rumped warbler. Look at them. Just tiny little cuties. Which is kind of funny because I really think they should be called like yellow armpitted warblers. Based on where the yellow is. My thunder here. But I have to say, this is a very special bird of the day. With the exception of one of the slides, every picture in this presentation was taken by me. I took pictures of them because they sometimes come and visit me near where I live, and I got my camera out. So like this picture right here, I took this picture. And springtime, obviously, because you can see the trees are starting to bud. That's the best time to get pictures of these guys.
You gotta teach me photography. I am awful at it.
Well, step one, get the right camera.
Already failed.
Get yourself a Nikon Coolpix. Like the newest ones, I think, are like the 1200. But if you can get a 900 or 1000 used, then you can get it for like $200 to $400, and it's gonna be all you need. That's what I do. Because brand new, those cameras are like $1,500. But get a used one.
Pain.
I know.
So expensive to like birds.
Yes. Here's another right little one. This is a female on the right there, I believe, because her feathers aren't quite as bright. The males have more. The males have brighter yellow and darker blacks, and the females are kind of more muted. But yeah, tiny little guys, 4.7 to 5.5 inches long, and that's the full distance from beak to tail, tip of tail. So as you can see, they're just kind of round and stout. That's only a couple inches in terms of body size. 7.5 to 9.1 inch wingspan. And again, their wings go out quite a bit of distance. They're still pretty small little fellers. I mean, they weigh less than half a pound. And by less than half a pound, I mean less than half an ounce. So like less than half of 1/16 of a pound. They weigh nothing. These guys land on your head, you probably wouldn't even feel it. Except you probably would, but they're little guys. Short lifespans, but actually kind of longer for smaller birds. They average about 5 years, but the oldest banded one ever was a little over 10 years old. But yeah, little birds don't have long lifespans. And 5 is kind of like if they reach adulthood. Unfortunately with little birds, that first year is brutal. Brutal for little birds. It's a dangerous world out there. And as you can see, they are a bird of North and Central America. So in the winter time, they're going to be hanging out in, Mexico, Central America. They even take a vacation to Cuba and Jamaica. And some of them even hang out in the Pacific Northwest during the winter. But then they love Canada in the summertime. Excuse me. And then, the yellow region is where they're going to be doing a lot of their migration. So you kind of see that breeding range goes just kind of down there to, like, the breeding range and migration range, basically that line cuts right through the Twin Cities. So it's like I see a ton of these guys in spring and fall, and I see them rarely in summertime. However, I was up in northern Minnesota a few weeks ago, and I got a good picture of one. Because I was very much firmly in that orange region. Yes. So yeah, I said they're passerines, and you can read their taxonomy stuff. Basically, the family Parulidae is warblers. That's all you need to know. That's all you need. So,
Warblers, some of the most colorful, pretty, secretive birds.
Yes. Now, I did not take these two pictures, so this is the only slide that doesn't have pictures I took. I wasn't able to get a picture of birds at the nest. Now, both of these ones here are male, and you were like, well, what's the male at the nest? You thought the female would be there. Well, guess what? They got good dads. Warblers are good dads. Dads are going to feed their little babies. But first off, he got to become a father. And how is he going to do that? Well, their biggest way of doing it is they sing a song to lure the lady. Then they show off their bright feathers, and the brighter the yellow contrasting with the darker black, the more better contrast that has, the more vibrant. Ladies like that. They real like that. But also, the males will be like, hey, check out this twig I found. This pine needle here is pretty sweet. I got this great little tuft of cotton. And the female's like, I could use that for a nest. This handsome man has brought me nice nest building materials. Okay, I'll let him breed with me. But here's the thing. This is true of a lot of little small passerines. They're not monogamous. They do not mate for life. And the female will pick a mate, and those two will be kind of a mating pair for the year. And he will protect her nest and raise her babies. But see, here's the thing. They kind of do a lot of sleeping around. A female may breed with anywhere from 3 to 10 males, and vice versa. And so that's the thing, is that more often than not, a male is raising babies that are not biologically his. Yep. But here's the thing. That male probably has another female or another male who is raising his babies. So it kind of works out. It kind of works out.
Takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village. And the thing is, they found that that's true of the majority of bird species. Unless you have birds that like truly mate for life, a lot of birds like this, most little songbirds, it's a party in spring. Just telling you. But yeah, they build those nice little cup nests, and they're going to lay 4 to 5 eggs per clutch. And it's pretty typical that they're going to do 2 clutches a year, sometimes 3. 1 is rare, 3 is rare, but 2 is most often. So any breeding pair, female, will, have, 8 to 10 eggs a year. And 3 of them might survive to adulthood. Because, like I said, it's a harsh world for little baby birds out there. The females do most of the incubation, while the male kind of sticks nearby and, kind of guards the nest, keeps an eye out for predators, chases away rivals, stuff like that. But once the babies are born, the parents take turns feeding them. And then between 10 to 14 days after hatching, they fledge, and, a couple days later, they're off and flying and being their own little birds, which is real quick. Humans don't even do that in 10 to 14 years. Yeah.
It would be nice. It would be nice to have that kind of independence, but
yeah, but not
we need
that
to wait
kind
for
of
our brains
lifespan.
to develop.
Yeah. Well, our brains, yes, crow brains take much longer to develop than warbler brains, and then human brains take even longer. So, yeah. Some brains never develop. Yeah.
Very accurate.
I was going to say like chickens, but Susie's here and I didn't want to.
Wow.
All right. Would you like to hear what a warbler song sounds like?
Lay it on me.
You won't be able to hear it through Discord. It's a beautiful song. Kind of a warbly song. He's so pretty. One thing I also really like is they kind of have little raccoon masks. Very pretty little birds. Okay. Now, these little guys, you know, some small birds like finches are primarily vegetarian, but these guys are omnivorous. They like to eat little bugs, you know, mosquitoes, ants, crickets, you know, but they also like little berries and nuts, seeds, stuff, you know. You see these guys at a bird feeder. They'll be there. But one thing that's really neat about these little guys is, you know, most little birds that eat insects, they're going to find them like on branches, and they're going to like, you know, eat the ants that are crawling up a tree, or they're going to, you know, forage on the ground and eat little bugs that way. But warblers, and particularly the yellow-rumped warbler, are good at hawking, which is the technique of catching a flying insect right out of the air, which is impressive. These guys are skilled little hunters. It's real impressive. They sure don't look like it, but they are. Good for them. Now, they're not the biggest mosquito eaters, but hey, anything that eats a mosquito is A-okay in my book. Absolutely A-okay in my book. One thing that's kind of neat is when they do their winter migrations and fly south, they'll flock up with other warblers. So you can see mixed flocks of the yellow-rumped warbler, the black and white warbler, and the yellow warbler primarily, because those are the three species that are most common in North America. But, you know, sometimes they'll even be seen hanging around finches and juncos and sparrows. So, yeah, little birds. Safety in numbers. It works. Works out for them. Now, here's another interesting thing, is that these warblers actually will stay up in winter a little longer in northern Canada, and they will do, you know, higher latitudes than other warblers, because they have an interesting ability where there's certain berries that grow on pine trees up there that are kind of waxy and tough, but they have the ability to digest them that other birds do not have. So they can eat things that other birds can't eat, but it also lets them kind of say like, well, we're in this territory with a bunch of other bird species, and we're the only ones here that can eat this kind of food, so we're just going to let those other birds have the other stuff, and we're going to eat these because we can, and you guys get a tummy ache if you eat it, and we don't. So that's kind of neat. It also lets them forage up higher up, and apparently the males tend to forage higher up in trees than the females do, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's very neat. Their eating ability is much better than others. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot more to say about them. They're a simple, little, cute songbird. There's really not a whole lot more to say about them, is just because, I mean, they're not the national bird of any country or a state bird of any state. There's not a whole lot of folklore resounding around these little guys. They're just cute little songbirds doing their own thing and eating whatever the heck they want to eat. And luckily, that also means that their populations have remained stable, and thus they are species of least concern. Not endangered! Yay! And so, now we'll go to my final thoughts. This is a baby. Look at this little baby. I took this picture. This is one of the greatest bird pictures I've ever taken. Look at that beautiful photo. Look at that little guy. That little baby. This guy's a fledgling. This guy is probably only like 3 weeks old when I took this picture. What do you think, Aj?
Just a little face for me.
This guy's a little face.
Having fed lots and lots of babies, they just, all you see most of the time are their mouths, and then when they're full, they just close their mouths. They have these little smug little faces and just snuggle up.
Oh, so cute. They're so cute. But also just the way that this guy's framed in the photo with the pine needles. I mean, my God. I got
The
lucky with
colors
this
are
one.
great.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. So good. Such a beautiful place. Taken up in central northern Minnesota. And I was out birding, and it was actually a really hard time to bird because there's so many leaves everywhere. So there's birds everywhere, but I can't get a line of sight to them. But this little guy just sat perfectly still for me for just long enough I was able to snap the photo. What a good little guy. And you may be like, are you sure this is a yellow rumped? I'm pretty sure it's a yellow rumped. It's either that or a black and white, but we're pretty sure it's a yellow rumped. But the thing is, they don't get those yellow feathers till they're like a year old. So the fledglings don't have the yellow yet. And most of his features look a little bit more like a yellow rumped than a black and white, but there is a small chance I'm wrong on this one. And if I am, then it's Bentai's fault.
It's those smudgy little babies. They're tough.
I just realized that me holding this container and it being halfway off the screen, it looks like I'm holding an alcoholic beverage.
I know. I've been thinking. It looks like you're drinking like a Sex on the Beach or a Mai Tai there.
I need to start making cocktails that are named after birds.
Cocktail?
Cocktail. All right. Well, you have any final thoughts about the yellow rumped warbler, Aj?
Underappreciated, but little secretive buggers. If you ever get into birding, warbler time is great. It's an explosion of different species to learn, but you got to learn them so much by their songs because you hardly ever see them. They tend to hide themselves in those leaves.
Yeah. And April and May is going to be your best time to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they seem to pass through a little more quickly in the fall. But there we go. We're going to call this bird of the day done. We're going to get back to answering more bird questions. I did again. All right. But we still got that old question up. We're going to move to the next question.
Uh-oh.
This one comes from Ray-Ban Wait.
I think did you lose your stool again?
I'm fine. Yeah. Twig, have you heard him sing? Heard whom sing? Bentai sing? No. Well, yeah, I've heard Bentai sing. All right. Let me see, take this out and I'm going to set it. Wait. Let me set it behind the coffee cup. There we go. Behind the coffee cup is good. Yes. Which bird has the largest, for lack of a better term, vocal range? I mean, that's a really interesting question, but, well, you have your answer. I have mine. Let's see if we agree.
Oh, I don't just have an answer.
Oh.
Again, it's one of those questions where, what do you mean by vocal range?
Well, okay, so the bird that immediately came to mind for me was the lyrebird.
Yes, that is the first one I have listed as well.
Yeah. Lyrebirds are capable of reproducing almost any sound they hear. It's astonishing.
Oh, there's that great David Attenborough video where he's standing in the jungle and narrating as the lyrebird singing, and they do this amazing replication of the sound of a chainsaw and trees falling because they heard loggers in the area. Apparently, that's how some areas actually found out about illegal logging, is because the lyrebirds in the area started making those noises.
That's funny.
Yep. They ratted them out.
Yeah, but I've also heard them making like like police sirens or the sound of a camera shutter clicking and
they'll steal from other birds too. Kookaburras, any other bird that's singing in the area, monkeys that are howling.
Yeah, they'll do that to like throw off predators and stuff like that. It's really quite astounding. But what did you have as other potential answers?
So if we're talking about vocal range as far as mimicry, the lyrebird far outstrips others. But if we're talking about vocal range in terms of like the actual auditory range, not a lot of people have studied that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the white bellbird is obviously
that's
noteworthy.
the one that's like the loudest.
They are the loudest bird on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you have like what range of octaves certain birds can hit. So like on average, humans can hit like 3 different octaves like some amazing singers can hit up to like 10 octaves.
Yeah, I think Mariah Carey could do like 8.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, just imagining like the training and the sort of like vocal capability you need. So like, there's been a lot of study into zebra finches in terms of vocalization, and on average, they can hit 5 to 6 octave ranges.
Wow. Now, what really makes me wonder is like, what are some of the lowest tones that birds can make, and how high can those ones get? You know, it's.
And then we were talking about how beautiful Australian magpies sound. They can hit about 4 octaves, and apparently have more than 200 separate syllable sounds that they can make.
Yes, Australian magpies are amazing vocalists. Kookaburras are pretty good at making a lot of noises, and then obviously many parrot species. But their range is not as good as their just ability to mimic and understand.
I'd love someone to do a comprehensive study as far as like across different species, even just reviewing papers to talk about like the different ways in which you can measure that and how different species measure up to each other. You
know what? Ravens might really be high up there.
That's true.
I've heard a raven go wah, but also go
oh wah. In the rehab place where I worked, we had a raven that could make like, you know, the sound that some people can make with their cheek to like the water droplet noise. He could like accurately replicate that noise. Yeah, that.
I can't quite do it. I heard a crossing hardware
cool.
store. Yeah, it was just me. I don't count. I have a magic twig. All right, let's move on to more questions because we got a lot more to get. All right. What bird lays the largest egg in ratio to their body size? I believe I know this one.
Yes, this is by far the kiwi.
Yes, I'm glad that you also said kiwi because I was thinking it's a kiwi. Yeah, like kiwi eggs compared to the kiwi that lays them, it's just like, how did you survive this?
Yeah,
that is one stretchy cloaca.
Oh God, as someone like who's as someone who identifies as a woman, like, ow. First of all, apparently,
wouldn't that be like the equivalent to like, let's say, a 140-pound woman giving birth to a 90-pound baby?
Yeah, that's like popping out a toddler, bro. That's like
popping out a third grader.
Yeah. So apparently kiwi eggs are like 15 to 20% of the mother's body weight. Like comparatively humans, a baby is 5%.
Okay, so 90 pounds to a 140-pound woman is a bit of an exaggeration, but it's still more like a 20 to 30-pound baby, which is
but still a comparable comparison, because the whole reason, like, bigger egg mean bigger baby, because there's more room for a nice big nutrient-rich yolk.
Yeah.
But at the time kiwis hatch, they're fully feathered and they're able to walk and find their own food. So, like, yeah, a human popping out a toddler that's able to feed itself and walk around and run away from predators, yeah, it's pretty comparable.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But yeah, look it up. It's amazing.
Oh, just look up the picture of what a kiwi egg looks like inside of a kiwi skeleton. It sticks with you.
Yeah. Poor ladies. All right. Why did the dinosaurs get wiped out, but birds didn't? Well, here's the thing. The dinosaurs didn't get wiped out. They evolved into birds.
There you go.
Many dinosaur species did go completely extinct, but the thing is, a dinosaur that's a large, broad range of many, many different species in many, many different orders of animal. So it's not like dinosaur isn't
millions of years.
Yeah. So it's like, we think of like, okay, so like order is a pretty big, not order, I mean class. Class is a large order of animals. It's like right under phylum. And so mammal is class, bird is class, reptile is class. Dinosaurs had multiple classes. So, like, you can't just say dinosaur and think and talk about one type of animal. Didn't work that way. But also, yeah, because it's like you said, hundreds of millions of years separated the dinosaurs. Do you realize that a T-Rex holding an iPhone is more historically accurate than a T-Rex fighting a Stegosaurus?
Oh God, I didn't think about it that way.
More time passed between when the Stegosaurus lived and the T-Rex lived than between the T-Rex and the modern day. That's how long of a time period that dinosaurs were around and evolving and changing. And after the 65 million year ago big thing, yes, a lot of the very, very large dinosaurs that required a ton of food died out. But there's a lot of dinosaurs that were like, you know, the size of like a cow or smaller. They didn't die out. And a lot of them had to start adapting to different environmental conditions. And, you know, those that had feathers survived a lot longer. And just over 65 million years, we have chickens.
The best evolutionary trend from Velociraptor to chicken.
Yeah.
It's like better than carcinization, better than everything turning into crab is Velociraptor to chicken. And you're right, and like when we talk about the dinosaurs going extinct, quote unquote, a lot of people think about the Yucatan Peninsula, that massive meteor that crashed into Earth. And yeah, you're completely right. A lot of the species that did survive tended to be smaller, tended to be more adaptable, had feathers that could fly around or at least travel farther distances.
Yep.
Flight definitely had evolved by this point. But I recently found out that one of the biggest theories currently about why bird species in particular did so well is teeth. So, you know, a lot of the current running theory for flight is teeth are really heavy because they're made of bone. If you're trying to fly, you want to shed as much weight as possible, so you get a nice keratinized beak, and it does basically the same thing. You can still eat the same thing, but a lot of what's the word I'm thinking of? So at the end of the Cretaceous period, when the meteor hit Earth, there's I can't remember what the next age is. It starts with a P. So at the end of the Cretaceous period, there were
the pretentious period.
Birds. Pretentious period. There were beaked birds and there were toothed birds, actually.
Yeah.
So if you think about things like birds similar to Archaeopteryx, a lot of the toothed birds died out, whereas the beaked birds didn't.
Yeah.
And this is because it gave them a wider ranges of foods they could eat, in particular nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
So when a bunch of ash gets thrown into the air and a lot of the plants die because there's no sunlight, and a lot of the plant-eating animals die because there's no plants, what's left? The seeds and the nuts.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, some dinosaurs just decided to stay being alligators.
Yes. just stay in the water. Just get back in the water. Don't come up yet.
Guess what? Alligators and crocodiles have been around for longer than 65 million years.
Yeah, it's like crocodilians are one of the closest living relatives to birds as a group, which is just so cool to think about.
Yeah. And a lot of other reptiles, you know, a lot of those toothed dinosaurs evolved into modern day reptiles. It's fascinating. Evolution is awesome. We love it. We love it. All right. Next question. Are there any birds that really mainly feed on blood-sucking mosquitoes and would be in danger if mosquitoes were eliminated? Now, this is a fascinating question, I think, because it's a hard one to answer definitively.
So, do you want to... I heard you seemed like you had a little bit of a vendetta against mosquitoes.
I fucking hate them, and I wish they would go away. But I understand that they might be important for other species. That's the problem. Is you can't just eliminate... You cannot eliminate one animal from an ecosystem without causing ripples in the rest of the ecosystem. And nature don't work that way.
Yep. You can't remove something from the web without seeing those repercussions. And by having, like, the biggest lesson you can learn is more diversity equals healthier ecosystems. It makes them more resilient to change. Again, like we just talked about with the dinosaurs, big change But because there was so much diversity, life still continued. Things still survived. So the more diversity you have, the better you're going to be off as an ecosystem.
Because, like, you know, bats and dragonflies also eat a ton of mosquitoes. And so if you limit mosquitoes, well, then you might severely reduce the dragonfly population. And then there could be birds that eat dragonflies that suddenly don't have their dragonfly snack. And it's just like...
And the big thing to keep in mind is if you're looking at a species and it says, oh, this bird eats seeds, nuts, insects, berries, it's not eating all of those at the same time.
Yeah,
so
it's not like filling up a plate at a buffet with all those different things.
In the early spring, all the insects are hatching, so they're eating a lot of insects. And then when plants start producing berries, it'll kind of phase out of insects into berries, and then
birds that are in wintry
seeds
regions, they ain't eating a lot of bugs in the wintertime.
So by taking out one of those puzzle pieces, it's a big gap to wait for those berries to develop.
Yeah. And I know what you're talking about, Hassia, where you said that it comes up, you talk about eliminating mosquitoes, is that, we could eliminate mosquitoes and it wouldn't affect any other animal species. And that is, I wish it were true, but it's just not. With our understanding of ecosystems and ecology, you just can't do it. I'm sorry. I really wish we could just completely get rid of mosquitoes because I friggin' hate them, but it would have environmental repercussions that we can't predict.
Like you said, there's also not a lot of people know that mosquitoes start out in the water. They hatch in the water and they're macroinvertebrates, so they spend the first couple larval stages in the water. So they're also feeding fish.
Yep.
They're also feeding waterfowl. So all stages of their life, they're getting consumed by something. And they're pollinators. So. And
yet there's still so goddamn many of them.
And they're so annoying. And they spread viruses, and they have a tendency to, spread diseases like West Nile virus and malaria, but they're still so important.
Some lists of the world's deadliest animals put the mosquito at number 1 because of their disease transmission. But I don't think that should count. I think the animal should have to kill you directly.
To death by swarm.
Well, that's just oh god, I hate those lists because it's like the top 10 deadliest animals. Number 9, an entire order of animals. Number 8, a specific species. Number 7, a family. Number 6, something that transmits a disease. And it's just like...
It's not the animal that kills you, it's the disease that kills you.
Yeah, and it's just like, you can't say that, like, the East African hippopotamus is the 3rd deadliest animal, and then say snakes are the 2nd deadliest animal. Well, it's like, you just went to one specific species, and then you went to an entire taxonomical family within reptiles that has thousands of species. You can't do that.
And like we said earlier, like, what are they basing it off of? Is this like, are they basing it off of statistics? Are they basing it off on like
the ability,
the potential to kill you?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if you take like direct action from an animal resulting in number of deaths based off of statistics, it's human by far.
Oh, by far.
By far.
But we don't want to admit that.
But like, in terms of an animal, well, and then number 2, in terms of the animal directly killing person, number 2 is the domesticated dog.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because most of it just has to do with proximity to humans, the odds of being killed by a dog are extremely low, but there's a lot of frickin' dogs around a lot of frickin' people. So, whereas like, yeah, a polar bear is way deadlier than a dog, but most people don't encounter a polar bear in their everyday life.
Yeah, like survivorship bias, right? That idea of like, it's just because it's more prevalent, it's gonna happen more.
Yeah, well, it's like the whole thing with like women feel safer around a bear than a man. The truth is that any random man is gonna be safer than any random bear, but almost every woman has had uncomfortable, dangerous, threatening situations with a man and has never had one with a bear. And so the perception is very, very much there. And men are objectively a far bigger threat to a woman's life than a bear.
And, not to stoke the flames, but if I yell at a bear, it's more likely to go in the other direction than towards me.
Yeah. Well, it also depends. Are we talking black bear, grizzly bear, polar bear?
The polar bear, it's over. I'm just accepting that.
If they say is like, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, hunker down, lay down. Yeah. If it's white, say goodnight.
Yeah. Pray.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to birds, because that's what we're here for.
Mammals get too much time.
Sheriff Misu has asked, how many kisses have you kissed birds?
Many.
I don't have pet birds, so for me, it's only been a couple.
So, like,
not a big bird kisser.
I can't say I stick my face near a lot of birds, but if blowing kisses count, so many. So many birds.
Yeah. I mean, birds aren't really kissy animals.
They don't have lips.
Kissing is very much a mammalian thing. Yeah, it's hard to kiss, but
many birds peck on my head.
Many birds do rub beaks as a sign of affection. Parrots especially seem to do this a lot, but
there's puffins. Have you ever seen puffins?
He's so cute. He's so cute. Yes.
I want to see it so bad. They like nuzzle beaks to get to know, not to get to know one another, to build bonds.
Yes, it's very cute.
But a funny story about this. When raising baby birds, sometimes when you go to feed them, you just want them to open their mouths and you can make noise or whistle at them. And some species respond really well to little kissy noises, like wrens. Yeah, so I have made a lot of kissy faces and kissy noises at birds. So.
Yes, as you should. Yeah, I was picking fresh raspberries in my yard, and there were some sparrows nearby, like pretty close. And I just took a good one and held it out in my palm, straight out, and stood perfectly still and just went. They didn't go for it.
No, they're like no.
But worth a try. Worth a try.
Chickadee might. Chickadees are brave.
Yeah. All right. Which grass Pokemon is closest to a real life bird?
I feel like Ben targeted me with this question. Because I have been playing a lot of Pokemon again recently. So I thought this question was going to be way harder than it actually was. I had to go and look up lists of I was looking for a website that I could filter down bird type Pokemon, bird like Pokemon, grass type, everything like that. And I couldn't find anything like that, so I just went to a list of grass type Pokemon. There's not a lot, surprisingly. And there's only 3 bird-like grass type Pokemon.
Well, there's according to my Google search, I found 7 that are flying grass related. So you have Dartrix, which is like an owl.
Mm-hmm.
Hoppip, which I don't think so much. It's like a Jigglypuff with leaf rotors. There's Jumpluff, which again not very bird-like at all. It's got little grass. It's like a blueberry with dandelion puffs on it. Not really very bird-like. But then of course we have Rowlet and Rowlet and Dartrix. I would say that those were my guess because they're basically little grass flying type things.
I was between those. So the 3 that came up for me was Rowlet, Dartrix, Decidueye. So that whole evolutionary chain. Decidueye, too human. He's got,
I agree.
Opposable hands, is too human. Dartrix and Rowlet, there's some debatability between them, but I think Rowlet is the most bird-like in my opinion because it's based on an owl, right?
Yeah, you just killed an owl guy.
There's not a single thought behind those eyes.
Nope.
That is the most owl-like thing that I've ever heard of. Owls do not have a lot going on up there. So I think Rowlet is probably the most accurate.
This is what our little friend looks like, and with a little pop-up telling me to save the WebP as I got a little app thing that says anytime a WebP comes up, I have a little thing that says, would you like to save this as a PNG or a JPEG? And I'm like, yes, I would.
Rowlet is also, fun fact, my favorite fucking Pokemon. I have a little figurine of him on my desk, and I have on the couch behind me a big life-size stuffy of him.
People might be surprised what my favorite Pokemon is. Because
not
most
Haunch
people would
Crow?
think, what's that?
Haunch Crow?
No. It's
No.
actually, it's not, nor is it a Murkrow or the Corviknight. Nope.
Oh, Corviknight's excellent.
They're excellent, don't get me wrong. But for me, I'm a Gen 1 enthusiast.
Oh.
And I gotta go with Psyduck. I fucking love Psyduck.
Ah, Psyduck is an excellent one.
Yeah.
Have you watched? I won't get too off topic.
The original Pokemon anime series? Yes, I have. And
I was gonna say Pokemon Concierge.
No.
Highly suggest it. You'd love it.
I just like Psyduck continually infuriating Misty. All right. Now here's one that actually came up in a discussion in Dreyfrig's channel, because we were talking about it. And so, of course, Bentai then had to ask it. Do birds fart? And definitively, we can say, no, they do not.
Birds don't fart.
Birds do not fart. They do not have the gut bacteria that leads to the gases that result in farting, and their digestion is so fast and they poop stuff out so quickly that, nope, they don't really fart. They don't really build up gases inside their little bodies. They eat, and it just all squirts out in one very liquidy shit.
We don't tend to eat very complex things either, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time to digest. But... yeah. Birds, there are some birds that burp or burp in a way. If you've ever been near a turkey vulture or a black vulture that's been eating recently,
black vulture, last week's word of the day.
Oh, love black vultures. They make these little grunt noises as they adjust their crops and as they settle the food in their crops, and it sounds like burping.
Yep, but interestingly, they don't have vocal cords. So,
I know, they just like hiss and grunt at one another.
Yeah. Just force air out their lungs and make sounds. Yeah. So there we go. We have answered the question. No, birds do not fart. All right. Another one from Bentai. Why hasn't science tried to breed the hateful scorn out of the Canadian goose? Well, first off, I have to make a correction for you. That is not the Canadian goose. It is the Canada goose.
I was wondering if you'd say it.
I mean, I can't. Look, we're specific here. You know, why hasn't science tried to breed the hateful scorn out of the Canada goose? I think it's because scientists realize that it's impossible.
It's such a feat, but on the other side, it's because that hateful scorn is so useful to survival.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you take away? That's like trying to take the. What am I thinking of? That's like declawing.
Why have they not tried to breed out the hunting breed tactics of the wolf? It's like,
yeah. That's the thing too. Is like, I mean, if you wanted to talk about it, we've definitely bred.
I suppose we kind of
geese
have
to be more domestic. Yeah, well, we've bred some geese to be more domestic and sweet and have better demeanors.
But of course, I've also seen some domesticated geese that are even more mean and nasty than a wild Canada.
There's always an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is a lot of that negative perception comes from human-goose conflict.
Well, and here's the other thing. When it comes to like trying to breed things out of animals, you often get very unintended side effects. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, foxes. They were doing a thing where they were trying to domesticate the fox, and they would selectively breed foxes that got along better with humans and had a more nice demeanor, kind of the same way we did with wolves. And they found that even with completely different populations, the same things kept happening. Their ears folded back. Their tails became extremely curly. Their coats all started becoming the same. It's like they were breeding only for behavior, and yet all these secondary characteristics started showing up repeatedly, unintentionally. And it's just like, there's a lot about genetics that we just don't know. And I mean, what if we try and breed the hateful scorn out of the Canada goose? You might create a monster even greater than we started with. You don't know.
That's very true.
Yeah. I mean, to quote Jeff Goldblum, you scientists were so preoccupied over whether or not you could, you never stopped to think if you should. And
Hateful scorn finds a way.
yeah, the Canada Goose finds a way.
Goose finds a way.
And I can't believe nobody else has done it. So I'm just gonna do it myself. There we go.
You got a problem with Canada Gooses, you got a problem with me, and I suggest you let that one marinate.
There we go. Gotta have honk. Yes, that one too. Yes, we gotta have Gilbert pop up. You know Gilbert. You're friends with Gilbert,
course.
right? Yes, we love Gilbert.
Yeah.
We love Gilbert.
Drink some water.
No, very not hateful Canada
I feel
Goose.
like. Oh, posture check. We gotta sit up straight. Sit up nice and straight.
That tricked me too.
You, Gilbert, and Susie I kind of think of you as my favorite little birdie, my little
Aww.
lady. Yeah, I think of you as like a bunch of like like a little bridge club or something of just like sweet little comfy streamer bird ladies.
Susie, if you're still here, we gotta learn how to play bridge.
Yeah. Well, and you also are all like bird VTubers, not rather than being humanoids. No offense to you humanoid ones, but come on, actual bird is better than humanoid bird theme.
Any day.
I
mean, look at these shoulder patches.
They're beautiful.
Look at these beautiful shoulder patches.
Oh, yeah, head pat. Oh, thank you. Yeah. All right, got one more bird question from the lineup. And this is one that we were both kind of saving this one for last because this is going to be a big one. Because I think we each can have two answers for this one. What bird has the most undeserved good or bad reputation? So I think we should each give an answer to undeserved good and undeserved bad. So I'll start with undeserved good reputation, meaning this bird has a good reputation, but it's not. And my answer for this is ducks. Most ducks. And particularly like mallard ducks. Because everyone's like, oh, look at little ducks. They're so cute. Oh, they're just cute little guys. Oh, look at their babies. They're so fuzzy. And then you learn about how they reproduce.
Yeah. That is such a, as a scientist, it's such a funny, like, it's not, but it's kind of a funny story and a warning of sorts about the way in which humans perceive nature, in that how PG are we getting here?
Look, all I'm going to say,
there are certain biological structures.
Go to Zefrank, Zefranke. He's a YouTuber. He does all those true facts about animals videos. And just look up true facts about the duck, and you will learn everything you need to know.
As a scientist, there's, like, for the longest time, we knew so much about reproductive structures within male ducks. And no one thought to question, like, no one thought in the question of why is it that way? Did anyone go and look at, well, what does the female reproductive structure look like? Until a woman decided to study it. So there's a lot of biases that we still bring to science that's why we constantly should.
Any woman who has ever been to a doctor is screaming at their screen right now.
Yeah. That's why, like, people talk about DEI initiatives and everything like that. That's, like, why we need more diversity. I will scream about diversity in the scientific and the socio-political definition from the rooftops, because diversity makes things better.
I mean, you look at it this way, it's just like, look at barbershops. There's barbershops that cater to black individuals and ones that cater to white individuals. And you almost wonder, it's just like, should there be doctors' offices that are the same way so that black people can be visited by a black doctor who understands their unique health issues? Which obviously, most of it comes down to their health issues are the same as everybody else's, but they need somebody who's going to believe them. And when
that comes down to teaching.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of that just comes down to white doctors who treat black patients need to do fucking better.
Well, yes, but at the same time, like, it goes all the way back to the institution, right? Yeah. The institution teaches all doctors at all levels information that is incorrect and inaccurate.
Yeah.
So it goes back to not just the doctor, but the way the doctor is learning, even in pre-med.
Yeah, like it's literally still taught in schools that black people have a higher tolerance for pain and are more likely to become addicted to opiates and stuff. And it's just like, no,
not scientifically proven,
not true.
So it's just at all levels, diversity and inclusion is important because it helps prevent inaccuracies by really taking a look at the information that we're putting out and saying, is this accurate? And is this the best way that we can study it? What other information does an individual bring to, like, the way in which we design scientific experiments? So,
absolutely,
that's my 2 cents.
All right, but now I want to know, what bird do you think is overrated?
I might get a lot of flack for this one because it's a group. So you said ducks, which is a group of animals.
Yeah, I mean, groups isn't... Duck is actually really hard to define because duck is not a family or a genus. Yeah. It is like a subcategory of the family Anatodidae, which also includes swans and geese. But, like, the line between duck and goose, like the line between many species, is blurry.
So I'm also going to choose a group, kind of broad. I think parrots are a little overrated.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm alienating a lot of people, but...
Bold!
They are extremely... I mean, they're such charismatic birds, let's be fair. They're really pretty, they're really loud, they're very intelligent.
Really loud.
And they're... Obviously, they catch a lot of people's attention and eyes. However, they are extremely difficult to take care of. Not a lot of people realize that.
Oh, yeah.
And at the same time, like, they're very destructive. And a lot of people... Not a lot of people realize that, like, just because it's pretty doesn't mean that it is necessarily great in captivity.
Yeah.
In the wild, beautiful, beautiful creatures.
I'm very conflicted about parrots as pets. I know that there are many, many people, many friends of mine, people have been on here who have pet parrots, and I believe they're great pet parents. You know,
do your research.
You know, Peanut and Gray Cat take great care of their birds. They also have a variety of birds together, so those birds are able to give each other social life and stuff like that. I know Mango takes care of her little Mango very well. But at the same time, I know the answer. It's Noir.
It's Noir.
Noir. Everybody. I liked Vice the best. You know, of the original. He's a little man. But Blue was she's doing her best. She's doing her best.
So,
but yeah, yes, I can kind of get what you're saying about parrots. Parrots are. I think a parrot's best life is in the wild.
Yes. At the same time, in the wild, they're also subject to extreme, what's the word I'm thinking of? Extreme pressure due to the pet trade.
Yep.
And logging, habitat loss, destruction. So, like, it's, yeah. I will say that parrots, I think, are they're what I would say are the homologue to charismatic megafauna. So, like, when you talk about conservation, everyone's like, oh, the pandas, oh, you know, the leopards, oh, the jaguars, and not like, oh, my mind is blanking, the eastern hemlock.
Yeah.
Like, they're cute, they're sellable. A lot of people like it. They're very pretty, but at the same time, like, there's all these other species who are drowning that need attention.
Yep.
So
yeah, the charismatic part of it does definitely help. So interesting answer. You justified it well, I think. Now we're going to go to underrated birds. Now, this is a bird where I think, okay, so see, Ray Mandan was talking specifically about the reputation. And I think this bird has an undeserved bad reputation that is not true at all. And that bird is the wild turkey. And the reputation that it has that is bad is that they're really, really dumb. And it's not true. Turkeys are actually very intelligent. They're the most intelligent of the fowl, and their intelligence is actually very up there in the top percentages of all birds. Turkeys are smart. They have problem-solving issues. They have good, complex communications. And yeah, turkeys have the reputation of being really, really dumb animals, and they are not at all. So that is my answer for that, because turkeys...
Anytime someone says an animal or a bird is dumb, you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Susie knows what I'm talking about. Yes.
Hell yeah.
They protect pickens. And yes, they're good.
Also, did you know that in North America, turkeys almost went extinct?
Yeah.
That's crazy!
I know!
They're everywhere! Thanks to conservation efforts. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It works. Turns out conservation works. They're not just hippies who don't know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about.
We're actually doing what we mean.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's my answer on turkeys having the undeserved reputation of being dumb.
Oh, they also get an undeserved reputation for being, like, violent. And, like, again...
Turkeys have hung out in my yard all the time, and, like... I'll put a couple peanuts and they'll walk right up to me and eat those peanuts, and they're afraid of me. They're definitely not aggressive towards me.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, people think about it in like the breeding season when, like, yeah, the testosterone's up, but you don't judge, I wouldn't judge a person off of them when they're drunk at a bar swinging.
Bentai, my turkey ain't bland, dry, white meat when I cook it.
You're cooking it wrong.
Yeah, if you have bland, dry, white meat, then you're cooking it wrong. You got to do that couple-day brine and then do a slow cook in the smoker. And
apparently, dry brine's the best. Blame the cooks. Yes, Susie's got it right.
All right. Well, what do you think the most undeserved bad reputation is? Easiest question:
pigeons.
Oh,
I love pigeons.
No,
God. If anyone here is not familiar with Rosemary Moscow, go just look her up and read her book. Oh God, the name of it. Oh my God,
it's This Avian August is entirely pigeons. Nice.
A guide to pigeon watching. I think the book title is. It's a great, fantastic book, all about why we should appreciate pigeons as humans, because they are the bird that is shitted on the most that deserves it the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fantastic answer. Yeah, pigeons are wonderful, cute little guys who do, they're just doing their thing.
They're beautiful. They inspired Darwin in his when he was writing Origin of Species to talk about like the famous term endless forms most beautiful, talking about pigeons.
Heck yeah.
Come on. Talking about how like pigeons have been selectively bred for these fancy breeds and these colors and these shape variation. Pigeons have such a tight-knit history with humans in terms of carrying messages. There's so many stories about pigeons in World War I literally saving lives by carrying messages when electrical or communication wires were down. You can't get better than that.
They're pretty great. And then come on, look at the Victoria crowned pigeon and tell me that ain't a beautiful bird.
Oh my God, the Nicobar pigeon.
What's really funny though that I find amazing is that the bird that people living in the United States most commonly refer to as the pigeon is actually called the common rock dove.
Yeah, well, that's because it's again human perception. Like there is no
there is no clear line between dove and pigeon. Yeah.
Debatably, there's no clear line between crows and ravens, too. But
I mean, look, well, that's the thing. It's just like you can look at a Victoria Crown pigeon and a mourning dove, and there's obvious, clear distinctions between them. But yes, within the grouping of pigeons/doves, it is not a clear line of these ones are pigeons, these ones are doves. And yeah, there are some very big crows that have some raven attributes and some smaller ravens that have some very much crow attributes. But if you put an American crow next to a common raven, the differences are clear. You know? Yes.
And if you ever have the chance to hold or care for a baby pigeon, it is, oh god, they're the ugliest, sweetest things. They are the best. I love them so much. They are just, oh god, they're such sweet beans. They're, yeah, as Susie says, they're little fat wads of chewing gum covered in lint.
Such cuties, such cuties. All right, well, we got through all the questions. We didn't really have a lot of time for it. But you know what? If you ever have any questions about birds, go ahead and shoot them my way. Because, Aj, I'd like to do this again sometime. This was a lot of fun.
It was fun. I agree.
And there's a lot of bird questions, and I feel like we could talk for hours about this.
We have talked for hours
about this, and I feel like, honestly, this episode just absolutely flew by.
Yes, I agree.
But unfortunately, we do have to call it a night. So, is there anything you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
Honestly, no. Go look at more birds.
Go look at more birds.
Everyone, get into birding. Talk about birds. Get in, as Brennan Lee Mulligan would say, get in the comments. Talk about birds. Spread the bird love.
Yeah. Go check out my YouTube channel. There's all my previous bird of the days there. But there's also other people doing much, much better educational bird videos on YouTube than me. But, you know, I'm doing my thing.
You have very great videos.
I do. But my videos don't have video. Other people's videos have video, you know, like footage of birds. But yet. Well, the thing is, I could obtain that video, but then, you know, I'm stealing content from other people. And, you know. Some say I already do that enough with my photos. Anyway,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You've been an absolute delight. And we'll see you all tomorrow night for another episode of Twig's Missing Movies. Let me know if there's any movies you want to come on and talk about, Age. You know.
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk about Lord of the Rings.
Well, the thing is, it's Twig's Missing Movies, so we can only talk about movies I've never seen. And yeah,
I'll have to come up with a list.
I have my list of movies I haven't seen, so you can look at that maybe. Anyway, we're gonna go give our bat friend Usu. You know, bats are kind of kindred spirits to birds. You know. Look, they're small and they fly. Friends. That's enough.
And it's dusk, so it's time to transition.
All right, so we're going to head out. So all of you have yourself a wonderful evening, a good week, and a safe summer. And we will see you all either tomorrow or next week.
All good?
Nah, not quite. I'll wait for the music to finish. It's only a 15-second song. They can still hear us. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Fine, we'll just right now.
We'll just read that. Should I just start reading that?